Festival that took place on Thursday, the 26th of March, which happens to be the day that, this kind of took place, right? And also in South Africa, we commemorate in the month of March Human Rights Day. So it's kind of like the season for commemorative activities, right? I wonder if our struggle leaders kind of said, you know what, March and April seem like good months to, be active in this game. And one of the things that the Embassy of Côte d'Ivoire did was make the 2026 edition particularly significant for South Africa and the continent. Joining us to unpack this further is Pandora Mabai, who is a strategist and communications director. Pandora, so great to have you again on the show. How are you?
I'm amazing, Ntsako. It's a beautiful morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you for joining us. So let's talk about this. This year's Land of Filming. How important is it to be part of reshaping Africa's storytelling and film industry?
It is very important that we tell our African stories in our own narrative, because our stories has been sold so many times. But we always discover that it is not landing to who we really are and how to tell our story. So the theme that we had for this year is Côte d'Ivoire. It is the land of filming. The entire theme was aligned in collaborating with South Africa, where they were saying, let's all come together and tell our stories. How do we work with each other? How do we exchange talent? How do we exchange skill? And that is what it was about. And it was such an impactful session to be in. And it was a session where you could see creatives are coming together and they are uniting and showing a united Africa by being so deliberate to say, how do we work together? And in one of the things that was said is, South Africa, it is open to you, the land of Côte d'Ivoire, for you to come through and shoot, because they've got beautiful landscapes. I've been there last year. It was such an honor to be there. And they also saying, we also want to come to South Africa because we know what this country has in terms of its different cities, beautiful places where our African stories can be told.
You know what's exciting is when I hear an investment into the art industry and the connection between filmmakers, between industry giants. But talk to us about that. Is there generally an investment that is going to be made? Because filmmaking is a very expensive opportunity and a very expensive activity to do. And a lot of the time we don't necessarily understand how expensive it is until we're inside. So what are some of the conversations that you guys are having at the festival?
Some of the conversation they came with, there are investment. People are ready to invest in arts and culture. And for me, it was mind-blowing to see that arts and culture is actually taken seriously. And with the two countries collaborating, we are also urging the ministers of arts and culture in South Africa and Côte d'Ivoire to say, how do you come up with budgets that are going to support to tell the African story in its true uniqueness? I saw a lot of filmmakers that were there from South Africa and Côte d'Ivoire, where they were having discussions to say, the funding is there. We are able to do this. This is how we're going to allocate this funding. Let's just come in and work together. So there is an investment. Those conversations were held, and I was part of those conversations where they were talking, investment is ready. And what I've learned now is they are taking it upon themselves as individuals to say, while we are still sending proposals to our ministers, hence I'm saying I'm urging our ministers, the Minister of Arts and Culture South Africa, the Minister of Arts and Culture Côte d'Ivoire, to say, let's come together, let's build strategic relationships that will be able to assist us in telling our African stories. But the bus is moving, the people are moving. The filmmakers are moving, the producers are moving, and they've got investors behind them.
And, there's a link, a cultural, diplomatic link between agriculture and African culture, which is what you guys did with Land of Filming, which I thought was quite on the nose there. I know that the festival featured certain products like cocoa. There was cashews as well. Cashews are some of my favorite, especially when people know exactly how to brew it. But talk to us about that link now. Why did we involve agriculture as part of the conversation? Because, one would say, but it's filmmaking. How does agriculture become a part of it?
I love cashew nuts myself, and they have to be done very well.
Listen.
So agriculture was there. Why? You cannot separate arts and culture out of agriculture. They go together as a combination. You look at how we produce in Africa, and we are able to tell stories around the production that we have within Africa. So they were brought in together because they are a combination. We can't separate them. And there was people that were talking about cocoa, and what happens is Côte d'Ivoire is the leading when it comes to cocoa, and they've got farmers working, and they were there to share what they have in them dealing with in the cocoa, cashew nuts, and coffee beans, and it aligns with the art and culture and how the actors tell the story of Africa from the soil of Africa. So you cannot separate the two. That is why they were there.
Do you think we do enough of that? The sharing of, and I think the world is taking a very dangerous turn. If we're not attentive, a lot of things are going to be imposed on us instead of us deciding. But do you think we're doing enough of the sharing of either skills, of resources as Africans?
So one thing I will tell you is we are not sharing enough. And one of my mantras, which is Pandora's mantra, is collaboration is the best competition. We need to start coming together and sharing skill as African, because at the end of the day, we've got different skills. Our countries as Africa, they are different. I've lived in different African countries, and they are different, but you can see that there is room for improvement if we can lean on a certain country. South Africa has always been looked up to by African countries, and having explored Africa, we are very well developed as South Africa, and I believe we've got a lot to offer to other African countries. Let's open our mind, let's open our hearts, let's open our craft to say, let's cross borders. Crossing borders is not about going to other countries like America. Can we cross borders with our brothers and sisters and share the skill that we have? Because it's all about exchanging. So we're not doing enough, and I'm urging us to let's roll up and get it and do the work that we need to do. We've got so much to offer and learn from each other, from different backgrounds, different cultures. And also it also enriches us to learn more about other people and for them to learn more about us. And that will give hope to the next generation on what it means to be a united Africa.
Pandora, thank you so much for joining us today. We're going to leave the conversation there. I do appreciate your insights regarding this. Should we want to attend another event, should we follow you? Do we follow a particular organization, or where do we go?
All right. So I'm working as a communication consultant where I am coming on board. As much as I'm an international speaker as well, I work with different countries in Africa, Angola, Mozambique, Côte d'Ivoire. So you can follow me, Pandora Mabai, because there will definitely be different stories that are coming from different countries in Africa. And you being Channel Africa, you can catch me on Instagram, Pandora Mabai. You will find me on Facebook, Pandora Mabai International Speaker Fan Page. I am available on TikTok. I am Pandora Mabai. And I'm available on LinkedIn as Pandora Mabai. You can follow me there, and you will see updates on the African stories that we are telling of different countries.
Always fun opening Pandora's box with you. Pandora, thank you so much for joining us today, and have a blessed one ahead.
Thank you so much. Have an awesome day ahead, ma'am.
Awesome. 7:40 Central African Time. That was Communications Director Pandora Mabai speaking to us a little bit about the Francophonie Festival. Land of Filming was their theme, talking all things agriculture and the film and storytelling industry. I think those are two quite pivotal industries in our life, and it's very important that we marry the two, because ultimately we could use the storytelling to improve the filming. We could use the filming to make sure, or to improve the agriculture. We could use the filming aspect of it to kind of bring about, certain social issues that we deal with, the likes of climate change, for example. So I am glad that there are still festivals that are marrying the two worlds together. 7:40 Central African Time, right here in the Oasis.
Ahoy, matey!
Captain here to help, right, boys?
Set sail with us